Hey there, what's up everyone? It is officially fight week for UFC 314, and I'm super excited to give you guys my predictions for the main card. Let's get right into this. So, the first fight of the night, we have Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes in a light heavyweight match. I think this fight's very, very interesting. Nikita Krylov is coming off of a huge layoff, and Dominic Reyes, the title run's continuing, baby. He is on a little streak of his. He's 14-4 to Nikita Krylov's 30-9. I think Krylov wants to keep this one on the ground. Krylov wants to grapple. He wants to use the threat of takedowns to try to get Dominic Reyes to panic, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Reyes is smart enough to keep this standing on the feet. I don't think he's going to let Nikita Krylov take him down easy. He wasn't even letting John Jones take him down easy when Reyes fought John Jones. By the way, John Jones lost that fight, but anyways, I do think Dominic Reyes wants to keep this one standing. He wants to keep it in the boxing department. He does not want to go to the ground with Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov is very good on the ground. They're both coming off of wins. Reyes and him have a very, very similar reach. Krylov with a 0.5 inch reach advantage. But yeah, I think what Dominic Reyes is gonna do this fight is he's gonna find some success, some real success with the uppercuts and shots up the middle, like his front kicks, his straight right, the jabs. I think he's gonna find some really good success with that. So let's go Dominic Reyes by decision in the first fight. Now on to the next fight on the main card. We have Patricio Pitbull taking on Yair Rodriguez. I think this fight is super fun, and honestly, this is probably my most anticipated fight of the entire card. El Pantera Rodriguez he's coming back, and he's taking on a former champion, Pitbull, in a different promotion. This is sort of giving me a Dan Hooker versus Michael Chandler feel when Michael Chandler came from Bellator and took on Dan Hooker. And everyone was saying, Dan Hooker's going to show him the UFC level. Dan Hooker's going to win this fight. And Michael Chandler goes out there and he wins. I'm going to be picking Patricio Pitbull by knockout in the third round. I think that this is a classic matchup of the quick, fast, long reach guy with the not as powerful shots but the high output versus the short, stocky guy with no reach but insane power. And I think this time the insane power wins. I think Pitbull he's very good, and I think that he is going to show Yair Rodriguez his right hand a lot. He's going to get him backed up against the fence, and I'm going to call a knockout in the third round. I think Yair Rodriguez is very good, and I've been back and forth on this fight a lot. I picked Yair Rodriguez in one of my predictions. I picked Patricio Pitbull. I went back to Yair Rodriguez, but my official pick will be Patricio Pitbull by knockout in the third round. I think he shows Yair Rodriguez that there's a different way, and it's the power. It's the short, stocky guys with no reach, but they show you the jab, and then they get up close. He needs to close the distance and get up in the pocket, throw uppercuts, straight rights, knees, whatever. And yeah, I think Pitbull gets this one done in 3. Alright, now on to the featured fight of the card. We have number 13 ranked Bryce Mitchell taking on Gene Silva in a featherweight fight. Now, this fight is the most important fight of either of these guys' careers. Bryce Mitchell can finally prove himself as a legit contender and fighter in the 145 division, and Gene Silva can finally bump up and jump into the top 15 rankings. I'm going to go right ahead and I'm going to say Bryce Mitchell wins this one by decision. I think it's a 29-28, 29-28, 30-27 decision. I think 2 of the judges are going to score it 2-1 Bryce Mitchell, and I think one of them is going to score it 3-0 Bryce Mitchell. I don't really think that Gene Silva's takedown defense is good. In fact, I think it's really bad. And I think that Bryce Mitchell can do things like show Gene Silva the right hand, show him the leg kicks, make openings in Gene Silva and go for the takedown and possibly submit him. I know you guys are all going to hate me for this pick. I know everyone likes Gene Silva, and he's the new guy in the 145 division. He's the up-and-comer, but I genuinely think Bryce Mitchell is going to show Gene Silva who he is, and I think that Gene Silva's takedown defense is awful, and Bryce Mitchell's going to exploit that. I don't think it's going to be a super interesting fight to watch. I think it's going to be a lot of hugging on the ground. I don't think there's going to be a finish. But yeah, I don't know. Bryce Mitchell, he seems different. He seems locked in. This is the most locked in I've ever seen him. And I think he's taking this fight incredibly seriously. So give me Bryce Mitchell by decision. Now, on to the co-main event. We have Iron Michael Chandler versus Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Michael Chandler is coming off of a loss against Charles Oliveira. Paddy Pimblett's coming off of a win against Bobby Green. I'm going to go ahead and immediately say Michael Chandler wins this one by knockout. I think Paddy Pimblett is not a great fighter. I think he is incredibly one-dimensional. He's a great jiu-jitsu guy. His striking is god-awful. I don't know how you can expect that he's going to be able to stand up with Michael Chandler. His striking offense is bad. His striking defense is bad. His leg kick defense is bad. The one thing he has going for him is a very, very good jiu-jitsu game. Not even a great ground game. His grappling is not amazing. He just has insane jiu-jitsu. I think the level of competition that both of these guys has faced will be a very big factor. I think Michael Chandler's fought guys like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira twice, and Paddy Pimblett has beat a old washed up Tony Ferguson and a old washed up Bobby Green. So I really don't think this fight is going to be close. I think Michael Chandler gets up in the pocket and hits him with the right hand and puts Paddy to sleep. I think Paddy Pimblett is praying that Michael Chandler goes for takedowns, but I think if anyone goes for a takedown, it'll be Paddy Pimblett going for a panic takedown, and I don't think he gets it. I think Michael Chandler's takedown defense is very, very good. I think he showed that in the Charles Oliveira fight, but yeah, give me Michael Chandler by knockout. Now, moving on to the main event of UFC 314, we have Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez for the vacant featherweight title. Man, I am hype for this fight. This is a 5-round main event. I'm just going to go ahead and say immediately, Alexander Volkanovski wins this one by unanimous decision. I think Diego Lopez is very, very dangerous on the feet and on the ground. I honestly think more dangerous on the feet. I think he has the edge in the early rounds. I think he starts off very strong, possibly wobbles Volk with an overhand right, maybe even put him to sleep. That's Diego Lopez's one chance. If he does not finish Volk in the first 2 rounds, he's cooked. It's over. I think Volk has the edge when it comes to the later rounds. I think Volk has the edge when it comes to the volume, the output. The story of this fight will be the gas tanks of both of these guys. Diego Lopez historically has not had the best gas tank. We saw against Dan Ige, he lost the last round against Dan Ige on a few hours short notice. And then Volk has some of the best gas tank we've ever seen. He has gone out there and beat Max Holloway 3 times, and Max Holloway has one of the best gas tanks we've ever seen as well. But yeah, I see Diego Lopez starting off very strong, winning the first, possibly winning the second. But I see Volk just coming out after that second round, seeing that Diego Lopez is already mouth breathing, he's sweating, he's really tired, and Volk goes out there and he shows him what he's made of, and he shows him that there's levels to this, and he beats him. He wins 3-2. I think, like I said, Lopez wins the first 2 rounds, and then Volk goes out and beats him the last 3. I don't think Volk has the finishing ability to finish Diego Lopez, but like I said, Diego Lopez, if he wants to win this fight, he has to finish Volk in the first 2 rounds. I don't think his gas tank is there. But yeah, I'm going to go with Volk by unanimous decision. I think he's going to get the belt back, and America and Australia and wherever you live, everyone's going to be happy because the Volk title reign is back on. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know if you want more prediction videos. I will be checking back around with my predictions after the card, see how well I did. But yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.